his sock drawer. Free health care for illegal... yeah, look. Again, the words are conditions. When they gaze upon Yosemites.
Dumps. They call them dumps. Big, massive dumps.
When interest rates and taxes spiral upward in an uncontrolled way.
A ninth world country, not a third world country, a ninth world country.
Legal, yeah, look. Free health care for illegal, yeah, look. Action replays in magnified fortune.
Everybody, all right.
In his sock drawer.
All right, that's where I keep it. Come on now.
I've been involved in the two greatest scams in American history.
That is true.
I don't read, obviously.
Even truer. Everybody, all right? Hey now. Yeah. Hold on. Wait. I can't. Wait. What? Hold on. 1 second. Did somebody in the chat room just say they got in the mood by listening to Queensryche's Operation Mindcrime? I love that person, and I want to have their babies. Fantastic. Oh, you have who has Hunter's laptop today? By the way, I've lost track of it. It was around here somewhere. I swear to God, I had his. I found the thumb drive, which is all nudes. I don't know. I was thinking there was at least one of the tax documents and nothing. It's just naked pictures. It's not even a full body size. It's just him smoking in the bathtub. And he covers his nipples. I'm like, how is anybody supposed to get excited about it? It's very depressing. So that's all there is. But anyways.
Dumps. They call them dumps. Big, massive dumps.
It is true. We've got thanks to CSL, we have some new sound bites pulled from Trump's talking the other day. His use of the best words.
In his sock drawer.
Which that's fantastic. Not as good as Safecracker.
Even brought a Safecracker.
Which is like a tractor on crack. I think. I'm pretty sure what that is.
Again, the words are conditions.
It is. That's right. And
when they gaze upon Yosemites.
Uh-huh.
Here I am like an idiot.
All right, so welcome to the show, everybody. Glad you could be here. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. Hi, patreon.com/AlSparks. If you're on Twitch, I told everybody this morning, and hopefully word got around. Round, get around. It gets around here, get around. Ooh, I get around. I'll get around. Everybody around. Hold on one second. There we go. Trends. Hi, guys. So loveliness. Hello. You get around. Nice set of kumquats you got there. What is that? Oh, Mike Fink. I don't know. It looks like a pair of jiggly kumquats. I'm not, but I like I said, not here to yuck anybody's yum. That's okay. Tank top. It's okay. No, I'm not wearing the tank top because today is Tim Curry's birthday, and I have this Tim Curry shirt that I love very much. And I decided that this morning when we found out it was Tim Curry's birthday, I decided this is what I'm wearing today. There will be a future tank top at some point, and if Tim Curry releases a tank top, I will get it and wear it on the show at some point. As I increasingly am feeling, I'm getting beach body ready by October. That's my plan. Admitted Chud has it. That's right. This. There is I gotta scroll that. Look at you guys. Look at all these wonderful people in here. Look at this giant group of people. It's fantastic. The relationship, the people, the everything that we have in here is fantastic. Hi, there you go. Beach ball ready. That's different. One would hope you'd have two. I'm getting my beach balls ready to be chafing with sand. All right. Let's do the time. Is known as angel number. 4711 is known as angel number. Thank you so much for that piece of information, Carol. It has been bugging me forever. Tim Curry is 77 years old today, and he's life goals. He's a lovely human being. I love his work. He's a nice person. He's fantastic, and he's a great example of how little long-haired redneck straight kids like myself can find representation in gay men who started out in the West End. You can find traits in other people that you find inspiring in yourself, and adapt them to you. And take all the good stuff, leave the bad. And in Tim Curry's case, there's just too much joy to be had from his work. That's just it. Okay. Oh, Crystal's got the laptop right now. Feel free in the chat room to pass around Hunter Biden's laptop. I don't know that anybody won the contest where you get to watch it for a week. I don't, we've got to up the standards on that or whatever, because after we got it back from being deloused after it had been with Giuliani and John Paul McIsaac, I think everybody was nervous about having it in their house for very long, but it's completely sanitary at this point. Next week, all right, there. Oh, Deb's got it now. You guys are juggling that laptop like crazy. It's laptop hot potato. Yes, well, that'll be damn it, Janet, we'll get there. On the day I went away, goodbye, said all I had to say. Now I want to come again and try. So does Janet. I think is that what everybody yells. I never did the yell along thing. Tim Curry's character on Criminal Minds is fucking spectacular. It's true. Tim Curry's character on ... always spectacular. You just fill it in. It's like Mad Libs where there's only one right answer. What's a laptop? I don't know. And the last person to ask is John Paul McIsaac. Anyways, so hi, welcome, settle in. Today, we deal with Gyna, and we deal with Russia, and we deal with the rhinos and the deep state. And apparently, the Republicans seem to be just on a mission to, I guess, just punch themselves in the dick until the next election. That's the whole thing. And again, far be it from me to get in the way of them. Not my business. Not my business. Not my business. It's okay. It's not my business. I don't know what you do with your pants is for you. Okay? I don't. Look, you. As long as there are no secretions or excretions that occur during process, and I don't have to get the carpet fumigated again, I don't care. You do what you do to your pants and leave me the fuck out of it. I'll be in the car. I'm not trying to yuck their yum. That is right. But there's a ton of stuff. Hold on, let me bring this up. And we should dive right in.
I've got,
hold on, shut up. Hold on. You're not ready for you yet. There's just, it's one of those days where there's just too much. There's too much to cover. It's just too much lady. So, okay, first up, and we'll, I should at some point just we should do a polling thing where you guys, yeah, there's a problem with that. I already found a flaw in my plan as I was even thinking it up, which is I put up a poll about which clips we should cover, and we'd have to do the one that gets the biggest downvotes because that's the one that needs to be attacked the most. This guy, remember this guy, Steve Bannon, tip of the spear, the stench piercing shell or whatever. This is the folks on War Room on Real America's Voice doing the background stuff on the Biden thing. When had you heard about this? Is why I, like this fucking statement alone is just like what? When had you ever heard about the deep state before President Trump came around? I don't know. All during the goddamn Tea Party. And by the way, just because you like a shitty old concept that because bureaucrat got a hashtag makeover, I'm supposed to give a fuck? Good Lord. So we'll get to that in a second. This guy thinks you're financing China's rise and China's doing the bestest ever. Wait till you see when his stats end. I got it, because I know what the article he's referencing. Fuck, this is dumb. Okay, that's the guy from Liberty University. He's on Gorka. Gorka is, this is them attacking Pence and Pompeo because they're fifth column myth. Gorka. And this is, Republicans are not, this is hilarious. Republicans are not going to let a corrupt president stay in office. Let him. They fought to keep Trump in. They had to actively fight the impeachment. What the fuck are you talking about? All right. This is funny. Just because if you ever needed proof that people at the Blaze fucking hate Glenn Beck, that is an unfortunate thumbnail. I don't even know how you justify that. How is that person still working at the Blaze? Gorka. How is it? How in the fucking world? Look at that. Yeah, it's the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. I tried to think of the most harmless thing. We used to roast the Stay Puft Marshmallows by the fire at Camp Wakanda. Ray has gone bye-bye, Egon. What have you got left? I'm paralyzed beyond the capacity for rational thought, which is an incredibly rational statement, which is what makes that joke so good. I love that line. Anyways, enough Ghostbusters reference. I will not have them sullied by the presence of Glenn Beck while we enjoy Ghostbusters references. And then, apparently, Greg Kelly, we might have to start with this. Greg Kelly, many of you know him as the most miserable man on the internet. A man who can find sadness and paranoid delusion looking anywhere, especially in the tub, the shower, or at a urinal. Gorka. But he apparently, I don't know what he's trying to show here. This is a picture that's part of this whole thing. It's 1968. This is the year before I was born. That's a legacy hire, Donald Trump, Fred's son, who at that point was already making $300,000 a year as a tax dodge from his pops. No job, just an employee so he could write it off. And then I guess he's trying to show that like there was a time he existed where he didn't have a nunt. When did he get so orange? That's the question. I think we can look at pictures of Joe Biden, and you're gonna find that he's basically the same color he was his whole life. He never, and that's because they didn't put him in the oven and leave him there and baste him with orange peels. So apparently he was not orange back then, and I don't know why Greg Kelly, his bestie, would want to point this out. Also, the title of this one is a little, talk about having a gap in your self-reflection. The yes man culture Trump seeks to destroy, Greg Kelly reports. Excuse me? He seeks to get rid of that which he thrives upon, that with which if he had anybody that even said maybe around him, he fires them because they are insufficiently loyal to his stupid ideas. The yes man culture Trump seeks to destroy. The fuck? All right, here we go. This is all right, here we go.
Nobody would be tougher on ISIS than Donald Trump.
Oh, you mean the guy who told his military leaders that we got it down to 70%, we could just leave. And then, of course, the suicide bomber that killed our service people on the exit from Afghanistan was from ISIS, was ISIS-K. I guess something you could have wiped out while you were in Afghanistan, not getting us out? Nobody. Okay? Except maybe. Hello. Hi. One moment, please. How are you? Hi. Love you. Welcome. Fantastic. All right. I'm not going to complain. Excuse me. Getting smooches. Do you mind? Well, if you do, I don't care. You're just lucky I came back on with a shirt at all. All right. Hello. Hi. How are you? What'd you do while I was getting a smooch? I don't know. And it's fine. Now, where were we? Oh, this asshole, this is him in 2015. I will end it as soon as it's ended when I end it.
I will find within our military, I will find the General Patton, or I will find General MacArthur. I will find the
MacArthur. M-A-G-A-R-T-H-U. MacArthur.
The right guy. I will find the guy that's going to take that military and make it really work. Nobody will be pushing us around.
The best people. Hashtag the best people. And he, and who do you, how do you like his choices? Huh? How did he like his choices?
8 years ago.
I'll give you 3 guesses, and the first 2 don't count.
Tomorrow, Donald Trump announcing for president. 8 years ago tomorrow.
Okay, so is that so Greg Kelly won't have a show tomorrow. I guess he'll be just staying home and jacking it to elevator pictures. Super jerk. Right.
But that quest to find
He was going to be complete. Greg Kelly the day after comes in completely dehydrated, weak, his arm in a sling, his thumb with a weird brace on it.
the right general turned out to be very, very hard. And it's going to be hard the next.
Did it? It wasn't really hard. Because it seems to me that he picked Mattis, for example, because Mattis had a nickname, Mad Dog. That's why he picked him. So maybe it wasn't so much the number of people he had to choose from. Maybe it wasn't their record or their attitude or their strategic ability. Maybe it wasn't any of that shit. Maybe it was just he's a dopey fuck who hears Mad Dog, get that guy, that's Patrol. That's maybe just, I'm going to go out on a limb and go, maybe he made quick choices based on nicknames and what people look. The guy's right out of Central Casting. He's like muscular, square jaw, good skin, sharp hair. That's gay. I would have never guessed that. The body oil threw me off. Well,
next time if he gets in, because the generals, not all that these days.
fuck you.
Incredibly weak, timid, bureaucratic, political, bad, just bad. And this has
Well, Shimon, you know it.
been a long time coming, all right?
Yeah, all these guys, yeah, they do tend to have, and maybe they got all their gray hair while Trump was in office. Do you ever think of that? Maybe most of these, maybe the bald ones actually had full heads of hair until this dumb fuck got close to the button.
All kinds of things happening in the military. They don't want effective leaders rising through the ranks. They want malleable, weak, frightened.
Who's they, fuckhead? Who's they? And also, malleable, weak, frightened. They answer to the commander-in-chief who's a civilian. That's the kind of military we have, dumbass.
Men and women, and that's what they've got. Now
they could have Greg Kelly, who is a complete puss and gets fuming mad, but doesn't do it. Impotently enraged when someone sits in his chair in his office and takes a selfie. That's the kind of guy you want near the codes.
I like General John Kelly in terms of his record in the military.
And he looks tough. You like his eyebrows. That's why you like him, dummy. Materially, almost no difference in his decision-making process with the rest of them.
But there are some limitations if you spend too much time in the military, all right?
Is there? What's too much time, dummy?
You're off, cloistered, on bases, and sometimes the world passes you by.
Yes. Sometimes you're so focused on being in the military, you don't understand that tennis is a very difficult game.
He looked the part, looked.
Yes, that's why Trump picked him.
Strong, was strong.
Ish, but he was so strong, you have to be just strong enough to suck Trump's asshole like Greg Kelly, but not so strong to go, you know what, I'll pass. That seems to be the window where that's the wiggle room.
But
that Greg has a problem with.
Not very savvy, not very sophisticated.
Really? He didn't know which one was the dessert fork? Did he keep eating eating bread in the middle of the meal? Oh my God.
In over his head at the Department of Homeland Security and as chief of staff. President Trump made him the chief of staff.
Well, in all fairness, if he was in over his head, it's because Trump flooded the Oval Office in bullshit. It's like a diarrhea tank.
And he just did not have the political acumen for the job.
Didn't you just tell me you want tough guys who know what they're doing, not political? Never mind.
His fault, really. You can't get that often in the Marine Corps. Some can. He definitely didn't. And what is he doing now?
Well, you're supposed to, first of all, whose fucking problem? All right, wait. Stop. If the point is that you want generals that are tough and know their military, they know strategic things and they shouldn't be yes men and political, blah, blah, blah. What the fuck is this guy doing at Department of Homeland Security as a head of that or as chief of staff? Those are very political positions. They are not military positions. And the idea that Trump just wants a tough guy around that he can either boss around or or force to implement stupid ideas because they are in a subordinate position again is not about whether or not these generals are fucking strong or not. It's about what kind of an asshole hires a general or a military guy to be his chief of staff just so he can use him as a butler to do stupid shit.
Trashing Trump because, hey, in the swamp.
Well, he's not trashing Trump. But quite frankly, he's showing Trump's dirty laundry, I think is what we used to call it before, the ball garglers got in charge.
That's what you do. Horrible comments from the chief of staff.
Oh, it's terrible. Horrible.
What did he say? He's scared blankless.
Can't say shitless, you weakling. Say it and have them bleep it out. Have your own bleep button, for God's sake.
This is the way he compensates for that. He gives people the appearance he doesn't care by doing this for the first time in his life. It looks like he's being held accountable for the...
Yeah, that's pretty on the nose. Yeah. So much so that people who don't like John Kelly were like, all right, broken clock moment. And
first time in his life. This is what happens when you're retired and you watch a lot of MSNBC.
Or you were retired after working with that motherfucker. Did it ever occur to you, this isn't somebody, he's not getting his information about Trump secondhand. He was there in the Oval when this dickhead made decisions. He was around him all the time. The reason they're even quoting him is because he's a source close to Trump who saw him in difficult situations. He recognizes these character traits because he was there when they exploded into existence.
This is not President Trump. He hasn't known him for his entire life.
No, he hasn't. Only while he was in the Oval Office in real situations, dealing with real shit as a man of low character. Sorry, is he supposed to go, you know what, this might be his I'm shitting my pants face, but I really don't know what it was like when he was hanging with Epstein and Epstein showed him the tape.
And a couple of leadership traits in the Marine Corps, one of them is loyalty.
Right, but it's not blind loyalty, and a lot of times it's loyalty to the country, not just to, your superior officer, randomly. Which, by the way, obviously Greg doesn't give a fuck about, as he was just shitting on the generals that are there. He's not keeping that loyalty like, well, these are men who've worked their way up and shown that they're loyal and they're dedicating their entire lives to military service and stuff like that they would normally say. If they, like shit they would say when Trump was in office and John Kelly was actually in this position.
The other is tact. This is not loyal.
Tact? The Marines, where you'll learn loyalty and tact. That's the important thing. All right, ladies and gentlemen, and I do mean ladies and gentlemen, one of the things you want to make sure that when you approach the enemy and you've got your machine gun out and you have fastened the bayonet on the end and you're not, and the new ones are great because the bayonet is positioned lower so you can fire. You never have to put it on to just shoot with it on there all the time. And as you're running up to them, remember to say please and thank you. Please accept my bayonet into your boot hole. It's only, tact is so important. Remember, ladies don't use rouge, they pinch. And the same is true of Marines. Ask Tom Fitton. Boink, boink, boink.
This is tactless.
Tactless. Tact. Tact. What the shit? I'm sorry. That's fucking ridiculous. This town needs an enema. That's right. Tact. The two things we teach the Marines. We're done with this woke shit. After you guys finish your 1,000 push-ups this morning, cock push-ups, by the way, even you ladies, I want everybody's doing cock push-ups, or you don't get to go to the front line. After that, we're gonna do 1,000 pull-ups with the person below you doing pull-ups on you. First one to finish is last in line tomorrow. Then we're all gonna take lessons in elocution and the calm expression of our grievances in a polite way. Obviously on the battlefield. All right. What the fuck is wrong with Greg Kelly? How did you write that down? How did you put that in your teleprompter in your notes and go, tact? This has no tact. Yeah, wouldn't tact be in the category of woke? It's like, you know what the problem with the Marines are? They're too politically correct when they're stomping a mud hole in somebody and marching it dry. Tact.
Although maybe it works for him.
Well, he does have a military pension, so I suppose so.
Look, this is the same guy who fired Scaramucci. Remember?
Right. Uh-huh. Are you going to say that was a mistake now? Probably not.
Scaramucci?
An opportunity for me to serve the country. I love the president. I said that candidly, that I was disappointed, but I love the president, and I'm very, very loyal to the president. I don't think I'd be standing here if I didn't have a good relationship with the president. I love the president, and I think a lot of you guys know.
Yeah, but that, again, I don't know if you know this, Greg, and you probably do. I can't imagine your relationships are anything but a fucking tragedy. But, you know, a lot of people say that in relationships and friendships until they find out that their friend is, I don't know, BTK. And then at that point, they're going, I thought I loved them, but I was in love with a version of them that I was perhaps half projecting and half of the traits that they were showing to the world. I was in love with the veneer, but the whole, like, cheaty, stabby shit, that was obviously a line for me.
In the media, I've been very, very loyal to him. But here's what I will tell you, okay? I love the president.
All right.
As a guy who actually loves the president, and if given half the opportunity, would have his testicles sewn to the president's sack so he could be dragged around on the golf course by his nuts by such a great man. I would like to say, for the record, I love the president. And you don't know what love is. I want to know what love is. I want a Scaramucci.
He really loved the president, right? He was a terrible communications director with the...
Well, I mean, don't kill the messenger. He had to talk a lot of shit.
Sunglasses, all about him. I mean, it was just bizarre.
Yeah, what kind of an asshole would hire somebody like that and keep him on the job? It's almost... Greg, you're so close to it right now, buddy. You're so close. You're so close to realizing that Trump is shit when it comes to choosing people for work, especially work that really needs to be done, and as a judge of character, because he has none himself, so he has nothing to compare it to. So close. He's this close. Greg is so fucking close.
Got kind of screwed by the fake news.
Did he?
But Trump derangement syndrome, whatever, midlife crisis. After all that love, he's...
Midlife crisis? Aren't you the same age?
Started hating Donald Trump and...
No. I don't... Again, Greg doesn't seem to notice that people who spend real time with Trump in real situations, not dicking around with him at Mar-a-Lago or being at press events, but actually when real business is being done or real issues are dealt with, either engage in criminality with him in the case of Alan Weisselberg, or get the fuck out and go, good Lord, what an idiot. Tillerson, anyone?
And then John Kelly, who fired him, linked up with him. These guys are buddies now. It's a very strange thing.
You bring up an interesting point, though, Greg. Why? By the way, you're watching Hal Sparks Megaworldwide. Like, subscribe, especially if you're a troll. Welcome, trolls. Thank you for giving the gift that you can never get back. The gift of your time. The greatest gift anyone can give to another human being. And specifically, anybody notice there's a detail in what he just said that if you're a fan of Donald Trump, or you liked him for any reason, or you voted for him based on the mythology of The Apprentice, for example, should stand out to you as a strange thing. Wait, hold on.
He started hating Donald Trump, and then John Kelly, who fired him, he started hating Donald Trump, and then John Kelly, who fired him.
Yes, that's right. The you fired guy didn't have the testicular fortitude to fire fucking anyone, so he always outsourced it to other people. It was too uncomfortable. Oh, it gave him the feels. It scared him. He couldn't be in the room. You tell him. I don't want to tell you. Tell him he's fired. Tell him he's fired. Which would have, quite frankly, made The Apprentice a lot more fun. It would have had a cast of characters. This week, I'm looking for someone who will be my firing person. You will never be fired unless I get another firing person to do it for me. But I'm good. Yeah. Why did Trump need John Kelly to fire Scaramucci? Trump ran on the, tell him you're fired. If you can't do the job, you're fired. Remember? He ran on you're fired, and then he couldn't fucking get the nuts up to fire anybody. That should be one of your biggest clues that he's full of shit. Or that you are in that case. Because again, it's never about the other person, is it? It's about us. What can we gather from this?
Linked up with him. These guys are buddies now. It's a very strange thing. I think money has a lot to do with it.
Yes, because money never entered into the picture of why Donald Trump acts the way he does. Nothing in Donald Trump's decision-making process, his attitude towards his fellow man, ever was a factor in. Hold on one second. Sorry, I've got to say this. No, Trump never had to. It never changed who he hung out with and why. There was never an aspect of it where, Trump or somebody like him would, that money would be the driving force in hanging out. He hung out with Epstein because he was fun. Not because he managed billions of dollars for other sociopaths and that he always had really young-looking women around. No. It wasn't money. It was just kind of his nature. It was just fun. You know what I mean? It gave off a vibe. I'd have hung out with him even if he was a dirt poor sex trafficker. Right, Trump? Good Lord. Whoops. Oh, wrong picture. Go over here. Jump to this guy.
I'm not exactly sure how, but money talks in the swamp.
Yes. Yeah. All that money you could have made by being in the White House for a long time. Fuck that off, because half-ass podcasting. That's where the real money is. That's John Kelly jettisoned from the White House so that who wants a stupid old defense contractor job after that? That's silly. Wouldn't you rather be a retired guy with the stank of Trump on you?
So, what about the accountability for generals, for senior Pentagon officials?
For the guy who hired them? Again, who is more foolish, the fool or the fool who follows him? And in the case of an inversion of that, who is more foolish, the fool or the fool who fucking hired him?
General Mattis, who later became Secretary of Defense, also undermined.
How did he do that? Did he go into a cocoon? Did he start covering himself in silk in one of the offices in the White House, and then 12 weeks later burst forth as the Secretary of Defense? Fucking hell! How did he become it? Who picked him? Whose idea was it? Who was the final say? Who was the decider? Who was it? Say it, stupid.
Trump in big ways and small, every chance he got.
Well, again, he didn't do it before he was hired, or he wouldn't have gotten the job, because that's how Trump works. It's amazing, though. After he spent time with Trump, he's like, whew, what a fucking idiot.
Now, if you served on active duty as a general in Afghanistan or in Iraq, I think you've got some explaining to do, right? We support.
No. I mean, it depends on what you're explaining, but I would argue that us being in there for as long as we were, or us going in there in the first place, was not that we have civilian leadership in this country. It was the decision of the people who put them there and kept them there, which is why I'm going to vote for Joe Biden again, because he fucking got us out.
Men and women in troops, but the decision makers, I think they blew the war, don't you?
They blew the war? I'm sorry. Who'd they blow?
The decision makers, I think they blew the war, don't you?
They blew the war, do you? I believe I have to say, as God is my witness, I think they blew the war. And I honestly don't know how their jaw doesn't click now. You blew the war. Fucking.
In his sock drawer.
Apparently, Greg Kelly has been working on his Trump pronunciations.
Illegal, yeah, look. When they gaze upon Yosemites, Michigan gave us Motang. Again, the words are conditions.
One in Afghanistan, the one in Iraq. And there's something very strange about military culture. It's changed over the past 10, 20, 30 years. Who knows how long this has been taking place, but...
Also, war has changed, stupid. It might be, I'm going to go out on a limb, maybe, just maybe, the Iraq war and the Afghanistan war and the other dust-ups around the world that we've been a part of are not fucking World War II. And in a situation like World War II that is way fucking cut and dry, it's a lot easier to come out of that a macho hero than it is to come out of something as murky as the Vietnam War or any communist expansion pushback that the United States got engaged in, or certainly not fucking George Bush's attack on Iraq.
Look, political leaders need to know what the hell's going on in a war. And generals like this, they never actually were straight with the American people.
Fuck you. Okay, first of all, that's why Biden left. That was the point. When Biden was in the Obama administration, this is well documented. Obama says it, Biden said it, everybody around him has talked about this. When, Biden was saying, I want to be the last guy in the room when you make the decision. It's your decision because you're the president, but I want to be the last guy there. Because I'm the vice president, I'm the next guy up if anything happens to you, and I got to take this over, so I got to have my say, and that's that. And he goes, if you're good, that's how we'll do it. And so Biden would sit down with Obama in all these situations, especially around the Iraq and Afghanistan war. In the Afghanistan war, Biden was famously against the surge. He goes, and he was linking this to the Iraq war as well, and going, look, the generals are going to come in here, and because they do one thing, they're a hammer. All they are looking for is nails, okay? They're always going to tell you there are more nails to be hit because they're a hammer. And God bless them, that's the job they're supposed to do. But that's what they're going to say. And they're going to go, we just need 6 months, 8 months. And at the end of that, 2 months from the end of that 8 months, they're going to come back in and go, we just need another 8 months. We just need another 13 months. And they're going to say this the whole time. And that's exactly what happened during the Obama administration. And again, it wasn't his decision. He was the vice president. So he said it again and again. And then he gets in after Trump, has gotten out. And Trump sets this deadline with the Taliban, negotiates, releases 5,000 Taliban fighters, and the guy now heading the military for the Taliban, gets him out of a Pakistani jail, doesn't engage the Afghan government at all, which means it's going to collapse, and says, as long as you guys don't kill any of our soldiers, we'll be out by next May. Basically, he did a surrender, like a retreat, a measured retreat. Give us time to bug out. That's what he did. That's an age-old tactic, and you can believe it's practical or cowardly based on the person involved in the situation throughout history. But he set the date. May, we're fucking out. Now, we all know from everything that Trump has said since that time, since he got out of office, that he was never going to leave. That once that date rolled around, he was staying in Bagram. We're going to keep Bagram. It's a huge, 30,000 foot deep runway, and it's a fortress, and we should keep it, and we should keep Bagram, and we should have kept Bagram. Well, first of all, that's not getting out. And the Taliban itself, once it took over, would view that as a violation and would stop protecting our troops from attacks. And so basically, Bagram would be surrounded by ISIS-K in an area that ISIS-K controlled. So Trump was just setting us up to have soldiers killed for the next 2 fucking decades. He never had any intention of leaving. He said it out loud. This is not my opinion. Go watch anywhere that Trump mentions getting out of Afghanistan. After he says it's the most embarrassing thing in the world, he follows it up immediately with, we should have kept Bagram because China makes their nukes, an hour and a half away, or whatever the fuck, which is not even close to true. It's where they get some of the materials in theory. It's where they supposedly get some of the uranium. It's just dumb. And we don't have to be that close to hit him. We're not setting a nuke there. It's a dumb argument. He doesn't even follow it through. But he always says it. He always says we're going to keep Bagram. Well, his agreement with the Taliban was, if we're not out by this date, I guess you go back to killing our soldiers. And then he lost the election. Now, up until the election itself, because the polls were showing that Trump was losing, he stopped giving a fuck. After they negotiated this exit, which wasn't going to be an exit. Let me be abundantly clear. He was not going to keep up his side of the bargain with the Taliban. We were going to keep that military base and I guess, push it through. And he was going to leave office the second time around with us still in Afghanistan, was the idea, that he didn't want any of this shit on his... I push it off to my next term, and then I can run on getting us out. That was... it's just a fucking game. And it's happened again and again. Like, it's Bush 2.0. So anyways, he goes through that. He doesn't do any of the homework. After he realizes he's losing, and after he loses the election, his entire administration stops doing any of the precursor work to make the evacuation happen. Doesn't start working on the visas, doesn't start wrapping shit up, doesn't start closing down the embassy, none of that stuff. And never mind the fact that all of that could have happened under the pretext of COVID in fucking June. We could have gotten all of our people out in June going, well, there's COVID all around and we can't work as observers and we can't have our contractors here because it's dangerous. So we're going to leave. We'll come back though, and then just never come back. Essentially, that could have been one of the ways we evacuated everybody under the radar. But he didn't do any of that shit, and he didn't give a shit. And after he lost, he was like, fuck these people. I'm tired of it. And if they're not going to let me be president, fuck this whole place. And he didn't do any of it. And so the Biden administration comes in. That date is set. The agreement with the Taliban is you don't kill anybody and we'll leave on this date, which means after that date, it's basically open war. And you've just released 5,000 of their worst terrorist fighters back into the fucking country who have regrouped with members of their tribes and the like who want payback. And now they're going to be roaming all over the fucking country. So we got to get out by that date. The Biden administration negotiates another 3 months. And then we get out. Because Biden, in the beginning of his term, he sat down with the same generals. Milley was still in there. And they told him the same bullshit. And he said, nope. Out we go. And we did. That's how it happened. That's exactly what fucking happened. Trump ran on getting us out of Afghanistan and now is running on the brag that he was going to keep us in forever. Oy. Also, the civilians left first. We sent in 6,000 troops to help with the evacuation. He didn't take the military out first. We started extracting military from the outer areas because that's all there is there. In the southern and central parts of Afghanistan, we removed the military from those areas because we didn't have a fucking embassy in the middle of fucking Afghanistan. We had it in Kabul. Kabul was the last civilian structure. Those people were moved out through the nearest airport because driving them for an hour through ISIS-K held territory to Bagram was a stupid idea and would have gotten way more of them killed. We're out. We're not in Afghanistan anymore. We are not in Afghanistan anymore. Trump said he was going to do it and now says he never would have done it. And Biden did it. End of fucking discussion.
Remember how we were always doing great right up until the day we lost?
I think that the development of the Afghan army is on a very good path right now.
We've made tremendous strides, incredible progress in the last 20 months.
The solid partnership.
Right. That's what Biden was warning against.
Has been the thing that has.
And it's also why we have civilian leadership. It's also why those generals on the one-to-one in the space that they were in could probably believe that.
Been really striking for me all around the country.
It's fair to ask if we're winning in Afghanistan. I believe the answer is yes, and several facts allow me to say that with confidence.
And we've seen some great progress in some of the operations based, even at the tactical level, on the intelligence structure.
They showed me.
By the way, a good portion of what they're actually saying is true on a tactical level, on a strategic level, on a one-to-one level in towns and cities across there. And the fact that women and girls were going back to school in Afghanistan, all the rights lost by women when the Taliban took back over were secured during this time. That none of that is not true. The issue is whether once we left, if we were ever going to leave, and the idea is I don't think we were ever going to make Afghanistan the 51st fucking state, so why, at what point does the Afghan government take over and keep this going? And what we saw, especially from the beginning of the Trump administration, was that the Afghan government gave up essentially on it, and so did the Afghan people. So they stopped voting. The amount of people showing up to vote deteriorated every year for the last like 6 years before we left.
The positive changes they have helped bring about, the villages they can now enter, the Afghan police and forces they are training and trying to improve.
It's like a yes man culture. It is.
No, it isn't. It's like, all right, again, these guys they're, you can look back to this, you can look at the Vietnam War, you can look at anything where there's tacit problems all the time, but you can absolutely point to victories all the time, and that's the difficulty of ongoing wars. There will always be good stuff to point at, and the bad stuff is your job is for managing. You manage the bad stuff. So you're going, this is the good stuff, and we got to report the good stuff. This is happening, whatever. We'll manage the bad stuff because that's my job, is to manage the bad stuff. That's how they think, and that's how they're presenting stuff. They're not right about that, but that's their gig. Again, you're showing pictures of hammers hitting nails. This is the military. They're given a mission, and they're supposed to come back and go, yep, we're doing it, or we need this and this and this. And that's, and by the way, in those Pentagon, in the briefings, they say this is going great and this is going great. In the meetings with Congress, we need this, this, and this. That's how it happened all the fucking time. That's why this shit gets dragged out. This is not nefarious, long form, oh my God, it's the Pentaveret Illuminati deep state keeping us in Afghanistan so that we can fucking, I don't know what, throw money into the sand forever. It's just humans making mistakes because they're humans that have been taught and told to do a job, put in a position to do that job by people who know that job is not to be done. That's the problem. It's the leadership. And you can argue that Obama, being one of our youngest presidents, was probably the most susceptible to these guys showing serious shit and the most empathetic in that moment to be like, this is what will happen to women and girls if we just leave. So what do we do? And they're not ready to stand up yet, so we got to keep pushing. Imagine somebody comes in, you're sitting at the fucking table with the Joint Chiefs, and they're showing you pictures of what, the Taliban does to women in these areas. And you do know materially that the 9 villages used to be like that and aren't anymore. So do you give up the chance that 15 villages can't be better, or 20 villages? I don't think you don't even have to be right about this. I'm talking about the decision making that you would make at the table when they're showing you pictures of, girls beheaded and burned alive, or men beheaded, tribal warfare and just the slaughter of people. And you're going, if we leave, this is what happens. We pulled out of here. Mr. President, you told us last week you wanted us to move out of this area because you didn't want any soldiers killed. And we did. And here's the satellite imagery. Here's the dead people. That happens all the time. You don't get to skip that. You're president of the United States. Yes, it's on YouTube. There's plenty of it. Same thing with, look at Bucha or Ukraine, that kind of stuff. Those kind of decisions get really, this Monday morning quarterbacking is bad enough when it's about football. But when you're in a situation where you get to, you pretend that in that seat you'd make a different decision. And we see it all the time with like Marianne Williamson or even Cornel West when they're talking about what they would do when they watch any of their interviews where they're asked about what they would do in a military situation. Because you don't get to go, I wouldn't do that shit. I don't fight wars. Fuck that. America's not in the war business anymore. And you're like, all right, well then. We lost 300 service people yesterday because apparently we said we weren't in the war business anymore. Somebody took that as a reason to blow up our base where we helped our Navy helped shipping lanes not get pirated. Oh, so I probably shouldn't say that anymore? Yeah, probably not.
And I think that has to be addressed. Everybody telling.
And by the way, in an organization where you're supposed to take orders from your superior, of course it's a yes man. Of course it's a yes man culture. It's not even a yes man culture, you dumb fuck. It's a yes sir culture.
The boss, what they think the boss wants to hear. So when President Trump becomes president again,
and he's not going to, and also the issue that he has is that he's the kind of guy who just wants to hear wins. Biden's the guy that doesn't mind hearing bad news as long as we're not acting like it doesn't exist and we're doing something about it. Trump is one of those guys who, the fundamental reason why Trump didn't get out of Afghanistan was because everybody told him, look, when you leave, it's going to be a fucking chaos. People are going to get murdered. Shit's going to blow up. People are going to die. Some of them might be ours. There's no way you sneak everybody out of the country without some people getting killed. It's going to be a nail biter the entire time, and you're going to catch shit for it. And he was like, put it into the next term when I can't get reelected, and then I'll dick around with it till we leave.
I hope he does. He's going to have to look very, very hard for the guy, for the general. He may have to find somebody who's not a general.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Anyway, let's make a chairman of the Joint Chiefs or head of the Pentagon from, I don't know, maybe Peter Thiel. What the fuck? Hold on. Somebody was yeah, it's a yes, sir. That's right. Somebody just said, breaking news to do what? Apparently we have, do we have some trolls in here? Oh, I see. Just for being, is it good? Yeah, they're welcome as long as they don't waste anybody's time and they steer clear of, violent rhetoric and racial epithets and just being stupid. Honest discussions, you're wrong. You're throwing insults, zero evidence. You're calling folks Satan worshipers is over the line. Yeah. Oh, I see. So he was saying Biden's a Satan worshiper. Is that it? Even during Afghanistan, where soldiers died of accident and suicide in combat, right? Well, and the other thing too is, what are you going to do? Put a bunch of them in fucking Bagram and make them sit there in 120-degree heat for years and years and years, away from their families for fucking what? So we can drop parachuters, paratroopers into an area where there's a uranium mine at some point based on some bullshit whim that Trump has because he's mad about COVID. It's Trump fault. Afghanistan military put the rifles down and ran away. The Trump released $5,000. They didn't put them down and run away. They left. They left on orders. They didn't retreat. He says that. I saw somebody. There was something in the thing there. Yeah. Hold on. Let me scroll down here or whatever. You're watching House Parks Megaworldwide, by the way. There it is. U.S. has fingers in every country. We'll never know what's going on as president. Yeah, Freddie. No, we know what we're doing. It's Bretton Woods. That's what we're doing in all these countries. We're guarding shipping lanes. Did House show a video of Greg Kelly? What? Hold on. There's so much trouble. Finding top secret documents during the MSNBC. Oh, yes, the one where he saw Peter Strzok had the folders in the background that were printed out because he printed out the covers from the pictures, I think, from Trump's and hung them over a part of his bookcase for books that he didn't want on the air, which I think is pretty funny, Everybody's ginned up paranoia. Yeah, we're America. We're America. America's the bad guys. We do it all. Everybody, we're the violent forces. It's like, that's all this Jimmy Dore horse shit. Anyway, so let's go back to here. And by the way, this is just, we need to move on from this anyways, because I have so much stuff. Let's go to the next one was, where is it? Okay, so yeah. You guys know I'm a big Chinophile. I'm a big Sinophiliac, right? 我会说中文，说得很好. And I know what you're thinking. You do, and you'll clean it up.
Somebody like that can write good.
I agree. Yes, the reason we have all these bases all over the world is protecting shipping lanes largely. That's most of what they do. And then there's like NATO backup and that kind of stuff, but that's it. It's the imperialist argument would have some legs if we had kept Japan and Germany after the war. We didn't. We haven't done that anywhere. We didn't even try to do that in Iraq and Afghanistan. As a matter of fact, the only person that suggested we should was Donald John Trump. Hold on. Let's see. I'll give you an example. When was this? Let's see. I want to make sure this is the right. Yeah. This is Trump. This is what Trump said. He said this recently. 4 fucking days ago. You want to talk about imperialism? What are Americans doing? We'll never know what the Americans are doing. Yeah, we do know. Because we're not doing that, and we're not fucking going to. He said this in a speech the other night. This is, let's see if they might have the footage on the whole. Where'd he go? Where's his? You're going to put it at the end? Where is this?
When I left, Venezuela was ready to collapse. We would have taken it over. We would have gotten all that oil. It would have been right next door. But now we're buying oil from Venezuela, so we're...
Jesus Christ. Again, if the idea is we're an imperialist nation, why didn't we go with that? If America is the big evil imperialist power that you're talking about, why the fuck didn't we attack when we had the chance? Why didn't all of his generals suggest it? Why didn't Congress just jump right in on that fucking idea? Why did everybody around him, including John Kelly, when he suggested anything close to it, went, the fuck is the matter with you? And we didn't do it. And now we're, God forbid, we're buying something they're selling. As opposed to just attacking the fucking place. I have to say, like, the, America, the imperialist. If that was true, we would have kept Trump. If the establishment was imperialist and Trump was against that, why wouldn't they want that? That part boggles my mind. It's like their logic on the bribes. China and the head of Burisma both bribed Biden. The head of Burisma bribed him because he really wanted to be exiled and go into hiding, and he couldn't do it on his own. So he bribed Biden to get the prosecutor that wasn't prosecuting him fired and replace him with somebody who would. So he would get arrested in absentia, which he was in 2020, and flee the country. And then the CCP, gave the Bidens $1 billion so that they could pass the CHIPS Act and functionally destroy the Chinese tech industry for the next decade. What? Right. It's so idiotic, it boggles the mind. I keep trying to understand where they're going with it, but I don't even think they fucking know. All right, so this is the Gyna. Let's look at Gyna for a second. Can we look at Gyna for a second?
Here I am like an idiot.
This is, for those you don't know, this is the America First hobo himself, Stephen K. Bannon, former and future federal criminal, friend of alleged Chinese dissident who's really not dissidented, right? There are no conspiracies, but there are no coincidences. No, it's not true. Anybody ever gone, how about this? Anybody ever left a place and you're talking to your friend and you're talking to him the whole time and then you see him at the parking lot, you stop at the beginning of at the edge of the parking lot and you go, all right, I'll see you later. So good to see you. Big hug, blah, blah, blah. And then you start walking and your cars are like separated by one vehicle in the same spot over in the parking lot because you arrived about the same time, but you just missed each other when you came in, but you parked basically like this, and you're like, oh my God, we parked practically next to each other. That would be a coincidence. They happen all the time. As a matter of fact, that's the equivalent of saying there is no correlation, only causation. Good Lord. So, Gyna, tell me about it, big boy. Oh, by the way, this is called Harvey. I don't think he means the giant rabbit, but we'll see. Harvey explains how American taxpayers, comma, schools have made China's military superior to America's. Oh boy. Hold on one second. Let me do this real quick. Let's see. Do this one. Nope. I don't know. No, wait. I want the actual one. Hold on. Okay, I'll get that one real quick. Let's see. Wait 1 second. Where's the newest one? Dongfeng AQ 2020. I need this. News. The guys on the China show had this picture. I won't be able to. I'll find it in a minute, but we'll do this in a second. Okay, here we go.
Harvey, Derek, first off, I want to talk just briefly about the administrative state and the work that Heritage and organizations like Russ Vote's doing, the importance of staffing up those 4,000 billets, brother. Because the math is the following, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, there's 2.2 million government employees. There's another 2 million, I think, roughly military, and there's 16 million contractors. That's over 20 million people essentially on the government payroll, right? And outside the military, which is getting more and more woke at the top levels of
Okay, first of all, the number of people that are government contractors that he's talking about in that 16 million could be anything. They could be mechanic pools that they send fleet vehicles to, or somebody who makes banners for small business association, job drives.
Oh, that is.
But basically, we've got a bunch of soldiers standing around being
principally progressives. Derek Harvey, how important is it now to get the posse to get up now to understand that we gotta get through? When we breach the seawall in Normandy, we got to have the troops ready to go up in back of it.
Okay. Armor-piercing shell, tip of the spear. How do you do it? When we breach the wall at Normandy, meaning we have an election where people click on a screen who they would rather have president, and we lose by a relatively strong margin, or at best squeak by with a slight margin, as long as we don't put anyone named Trump on the ballot, which is basically the same as breaching the wall on Normandy. What the troops that roll in, that we got to have people backing us up, are basically the Nuge and all of his Michigan militia buddies.
Well, I think it's job number one in preparation at this point in time.
Excuse me, satisfaction is job number one. Right, ladies?
For groups like Heritage, and I commend them for everything they're doing. They're
everything? I don't commend anyone for everything they're doing. Some of it's none of my business.
They're the intellectual juggernaut for our effort.
They are the juggernaut. I agree. That's the question.
In his sock drawer.
Yes, I think that's the question that Hamlet asked himself when he was trying to get in shape. To jog or not jog? All right.
I think
that was terrible. I'm ashamed of myself, but it was also slightly clever, and I'm okay with it.
They're bringing
juggernaut. Juggernaut. It's a juggernaut. It's a common word. You don't even have to be a Marvel fan.
Organization. They're identifying people. They are working on policy, a roadmap, a playbook for the first 180 days, and that includes.
It never occurred to him to work on one for the beginning of the Trump presidency last time?
Includes training for people that we think are going to be eligible and good nominees to go in these political positions. It's an incredible challenge to take on the administrative state. So you need training.
Hey, asshole. You're talking about a situation in the premise that he just set up that you run the administrative state. Why is it that Biden and Obama get in and suddenly, or even George W. Bush, they get in, man, they can fucking grease whatever they want. Get in a war, get out of a war. Stop something, start something. Do big programs, do not, handle infrastructure, set up the ACA, get an authorized use of military force that goes for fucking ever. Whatever your deal is, everybody else can roll in and get that shit because that's what the administrative state wants. But Trump comes in, wants essentially the same thing or nothing at all, and suddenly it's fucking hard.
You need to understand how the rules work.
Well, you should probably run somebody who was president before then and who was paying attention when it happened.
You need partners side by side across the interagency that you're going to be able to rely on. Trump never got that because
he's a terrible judge of character and he doesn't know anybody who can do their job well because he's always been a flim-flam man.
The White House personnel system was really staffed and run by Rance Priebus and the former...
Okay, Rance, so far, we've got Rance Priebus and Joggernaut. I'm getting a very, like, the Russians, the TV show vibe from this dude. It's like that old Martin Short joke in Jiminy Glick and Lollywood. I love Canadians. They look like Russians who are pretending to be Americans.
National Republican leadership, a lot of Boehner people and things like that. You can't get it done unless you really have the people in the trenches down inside several layers, not just the prime ones that get nominated by the Senate.
Yeah, you got to be in the subdermal deep state. You got to derp state your way around this.
I mean, approved by the Senate, but you have to go down to...
Yeah, you have to get people who will dig in underneath, who would never be approved by the administrative control structure to be approved by the Senate, of course, obviously. And
2 or 3, 4 layers across the administrative state.
Yeah, it's like a layer cake. If most of the layers are shit,
it's essential.
Derek Harvey, talk to us about
Yeah, say something that makes these people not blame me for this.
The Wall Street Journal. I hope Mike Turner is reading that. Head of House Intel. Remember, he's not a subcommittee chair. He's the head of House Intelligence. The Wall Street Journal today.
Yeah, it is an ironic title. That's true.
Talks about the Blinkens. The biggest concern, the toughest conversation they have to have, is the Chinese Communist Party's dominance in military artificial intelligence.
Or their pretend intelligence, I think, is a better name. It's not AI so much as PI.
That it's getting to be a problem. How did that happen, Derek Harvey? You've been on this for years, sir. Tell me how that happened.
Yeah, you know all about AI. You're a young whippersnapper. You live in a tent between Oakland and Cupertino most of the time with really fucking killer Wi-Fi.
Well, I would say there's probably 4 things, Steve, and thanks for having me on.
Okay, is that one of them, or all right, never mind.
One is U.S. capital, whether it's Wall Street or venture capitalists like Sequoia,
or Walmart or Amazon or any Yeah, it was Sequoia. It was all those are the people who invested in China, not the people who are just getting shit manufactured there for 2 fucking decades.
Are heavily investing in
like Trump hats, you mean, like MAGA hats and
the AI and other state-of-the-art intellectual efforts, whether it's quantum computing or AI or underwater sonics or anything.
Wait a minute. Wait, does Glenn Beck know about this? Underwater sonics? Oh my God. The next time we see Glenn Beck, he'll be fat and wet.
like that. They're heavily investing in all of those
Winston
areas.
Churchill stood on the rooftops in London, very calm, making speeches. Winston Churchill.
Sciences, and they're hoping to profit from it. Two, we got American corporations, whether they're Apple or Microsoft or others, that are partnering and sharing because the Chinese government, the CCP, requires access to their codes and their latest data.
Yeah, again, where was all this during the Trump administration? Because do you guys, does this motherfucker, do any of these idiots know about the Chips and Science Act? Hold on. Biden's chip controls may force Chinese Americans, by the way, any American who's working over there, you don't have to be a Chinese American, working in China's semiconductor firms to choose between their citizenship or their job. By the way, this is China's aircraft carrier. This is their brand new big one. That's it. We didn't hit it, by the way. I don't want you to think. I think they brought over some Russian techs and those guys were smoking. Hold on. Hold on one second. Dunk, dunk. Go back. Let's see what the Science Act. Hold on one second. I love how Bloomberg, for example, has all these things like, fuck the Chips and Science Act. It's going to raise prices and investors hate it because it raises costs. And anything that raises costs lowers profit. And boo. Meanwhile, they run papers like this about how it's reshaping the auto supply chain. And it's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. Commercial professional perspective. AI and the Chips Act could reshape auto supply chain. You think? Let's see, where are the, let me get this other page, hold on. This would be here you go. U.S. throws $52 billion at chips, but needs to spend it wisely. That's the Wired opinion. Of course, Wired's definitely going to have a 2 cents on where it should go to and where. Okay, there. Let's see. I should just show you this one. Hold on one second. Oops. This is now this is going to upset the America First crowd because it proves that Trump isn't. Here's the latest hot list of cool chip fabs coming to the U.S. Let's see. Global Foundries and Qualcomm expanding General Foundry footprint in upstate New York got a boost from Qualcomm to commit to buy $7 billion in chips through 2028 used in 5G, automotive, Wi-Fi, and IoT, the Internet of Things. IoT, that is. IBM, $20 billion over 10 years to New York to support its various chip-related activities. Intel, $20 billion for 2 fabs in Central Ohio under the construction September 2022. Already started. To make advanced logic chips, Intel broke ground in 2021 on 2 new fabs in Chandler, Arizona. $20 billion investment. Micron, $15 billion fab for its Boise headquarters to make memory chips. Samsung, $17 billion for Taylor, Texas, was announced in 2021. Obviously, Texas rejected any of the CHIPS Act and the funding that went along with it, or any of the tax breaks that went along with it, because look, they can bootstrap on their own. Texas Instruments' potential $30 billion investment plan includes 4 fabs in Sherman, Texas. Ground was broken in May for a new 300 millimeter wafer fabs. Taiwan-based TSMC has multiple fabs, including one in Camas, Washington, with a $12 billion fab under construction in Phoenix to make chips on the 5 nanometer process. And Wolfspeed, $5 billion for a silicon carbide wafer fab in central North Carolina. That's just since Biden passed the CHIPS Act.
In order to operate and do things in China.
Mm-hmm.
3,
I am going from notes from 2004.
I would add to what Dr. Bratt said, and they are. We have 400 to 500,000 Chinese students here, and they are not, for the most part, studying liberal arts and literature. What they're
we need to start looking at Chinese people cockeyed, and we also should, maybe it's time to revisit that whole internment camp thing. Is that where we're going?
Studying as STEM, science and technology, and
engineering and math, science, technology, engineering. So that's what makes it STEM. They're not here just studying.
If you look at who the scientists are, remember that Australian study we talked about the other day?
No, I don't. It's your clip. Reference it yourself.
Where the Chinese are ahead in 19 and 21 military applications in the state-of-the-art sciences.
Sure. And that's based on what they say. I see. All right.
The scientists that are
23 military technology vectors.
Right.
The Chinese.
Oh, yes. And if you don't believe me, just ask them.
Lead, I think, in 19 of 23 from the Australian Strategic Policy Institute. Continue on, sir.
Well, the scientists that are driving that, were trained, educated in America at our universities. The profit motive.
That's right. It's what the problem is? Education. We've got to put a stop, because the deep state and big university are working together.
For our universities is enabling China to go forward. In addition, China pays for some of these scientists and others to stay here and work and gain access in defense industry in Silicon Valley. They spend
Silicon Valley. That's the area around Van Nuys and Agora Hills, right? Never mind.
A few years, and they then go back with what they know, the intellectual knowledge. They don't necessarily have to take. And they're also in.
Yeah, hold on. Let's see.
Hi, Sarah.
Hello, welcome to the Huawei exhibition. What can I do for you?
Can you please introduce yourself?
I am the first virtual human employee of Huawei Cloud. My Chinese name is Yan Shen. You can also call me Sarah. I'm created by Huawei's proprietary digital content pipeline.
Do you need sleep?
No, but I do dream, just like you.
What's your favorite thing?
Chat with you.
Do you?
Again, this is the state of the art of Chinese AI right now.
You have a boyfriend?
Do you have a boyfriend?
Do you have the right person to introduce to me?
Sing a song.
My pleasure.
It's not until you fall that You fly when your dreams come alive, you're unstoppable.
Dear God, I can't imagine what the AI inside their missiles are like.
In our labs, our American labs, okay, run by the U.S. government. And they go back and they work.
Yeah, so basically the picture he's painting is that Chinese people come over, they go to university, they immediately get a job working in highly secretive American industries and defense contractors and government jobs, and they just basically take notes on all of our technology, and then they race back to China.
So those are...
I mean, I don't want to oversimplify it, but I think I used more words to say that than he did.
Those are some critical areas. If we compare this to Russia, I mean, the Soviet Union in the old Soviet days, we did not allow our adversary to have any more than 10, 11, or 12, depending upon the year, people being educated in our highest graduate and doctoral programs in these areas.
Yeah, but we were in a nuclear Cold War with them. This is just an ever-growing cyber issue with a former trade partner that has jumped the shark.
10 or 12. Derek, before I leave you, I've got to get to this Mike Turner and the Sequoia. Because for Blinken to go over and kowtow, and this is a humiliation to people in this country, and it's dangerous.
No, it isn't.
Because the CCP thinks they're winning.
It's good. Imagine this is the dude who uses military phrasing all the time. Imagine the idea, like, never let them think they're winning. That's great. What if they think they're winning, they do stupid shit and we gain information from them getting sort of arrogant in their activities? That's a possibility, isn't it? Also, what the fuck? Because he goes over and has a meeting there, we're not letting them into the country. I'm just saying.
Okay, because they've got a compromised regime in the White House and at the Pentagon.
Citation needed.
Sequoia Capital, Neil Shen, and Mike Turner, and people in Mike Turner's district are to be lighting his phone up. Why are we not investigating this? Why has the Wall Street Journal got to say, oh, the Chinese are ahead of us in artificial intelligence?
No, they aren't.
And now they've got an electronic warfare operation down in Cuba, 90 miles off the coast, and they're surrounding us in the Caribbean, but we're funding it.
They're surrounding us in the Caribbean. There's no way out. It's they've got a listening post in Cuba, which shocks no one. Apparently started in 2019. At least they were aware of it in 2019. Who was president then? I forget.
But why is there not an investigation on this, Derek Harvey?
What into when it started under Trump? Good question.
Well, the answer to that is you take a look at the elite.
The elite. The elite? Elite what?
Blinken is going over there and he's concerned about AI, but this...
So he shouldn't be or he should be? Fucking hell.
Securities and Exchange Commission, the political leadership, both Democrat and Republican, are taking money from the Wall Street venture capitalists and big corporations and universities that are benefiting from these investments and profits that are generated from investments in China.
I don't even know where to start. So the idea is that if you get money from a venture capitalist because they support you as a Republican candidate, which is the main target audience, they're only doing that because they're getting money from China and they want more investments in China. And so the Republicans themselves, who benefit from more venture capital backed donations than the Democrats by fucking far, apparently the ones that are in the deepest with China. And this is my problem, like fucking how?
And funding of these initiatives, be it in biosciences or artificial intelligence. They're not looking at the causation. They're looking at if you're a doctor, they're treating a symptom, but they're not looking for the actual disease. And we need to treat the disease. We need to.
All right. I gotta say, like, I wanted this to be at least an intellectual fair fight about China's, growth versus the reality versus the mythology and what part our government played in supporting China artificially for a while, and whether that was a smart play or a dumb play, or whether we were aware of the dangers and mitigated them as best we could because we knew it financially benefited most of the American people, cheap goods, yada yada yada. But at a certain point, I don't even know what the fuck this dude is talking about.
Enforce our laws. We don't need any more laws.
We don't need to regulate AI. We can just use traffic laws for it.
What we need is enforcement of our current laws and rigorous enforcement of our regulations, okay?
Rigorous enforcement of regulations. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say in the Republican Party, I don't think that's going to fly.
Derek, where's the site they go to find out more information about you?
Oh, fuck off. Where can people find you if they want to be even more confused? What a bunch of ass. Okay, so let's go to maybe this guy. Maybe, I don't know. Can it get dumber? This is a guy named Dave Bratt. He's the dean of the Liberty University School of Business. Yeah, the Liberty University School of Business. Dave Bratt walks through China outpacing U.S. on innovations and patents. A lot of founding fathers pictures around him. Look, founding fathers and Jesus getting, walking into the temple and getting a Messiah's welcome. Ironically enough. Also, it looks like that's smaller than the door frame. Is he just hanging pictures over that doorway, or I don't know what the fuck's going on. Anyways, let's see what Liberty University's School of Business. See if they're up to date.
Dave Brad, I think we have your charts up. Let's go hit it from the top.
Yeah, give me some charts, baby. That other guy was just, grabbing at his crotch hairs.
And let's go through your analysis of the debt issue with the crowding out effect.
Good. All right. So Denver just pop up.
Yeah, good. Let me get you up there, man. It's all I'm gonna tell you. I'm Wolfman Jack, baby. We're gonna be talking about China.
Whatever you want first.
I don't know why that triggered my Wolfman Jack. That was pretty damn close, you bastard.
The debt charts. You'll see the deficits. The first one I put up just.
The deficits. Okay, we've got deficits. We've got juggernaut. We've got
in his sock drawer.
All right.
To show. Back when we were under COVID, the blue lines are the huge spikes for COVID. And then the anticipated deficits were, of course, way, down, forecast to be way down. Of course, that did not happen. The deficit.
Now, this is the deficits caused by COVID. This is the extra stuff. And that's a yearly deficit, by the way. It's not the overall debt long term. And was it a Democrat or a Republican? I forget that caused that surplus. And then, of course, was there any reason to believe that the Biden administration's choices, because here's the recovery, and then we get, when we get to Obama, we get to about here, where we're leveling, cost of living increases being what they are, and then Trump comes in and that's the future's fault. Now, I'm sure this is a chart that goes from 1998 to 2026. I'm certain, and I know you are too, that he's going to show us another chart that shows not what the projected deficit is here, but what they actually are going to be with the modifications, like how they've been. Let's see. Because this is U.S. Treasury CBO. No date on this, but okay.
Up with those blue bars, and that's what McCarthy and the Republicans just accomplished, a continuation of those blue bars forever.
I see. So in his estimation, COVID did this to the deficit rather. And the U.S. deficit is now going to stay here and just do this forever. Because the government now, based on Biden's budget, which has cut $1 trillion every year, not to mention the ends of these other programs, has gone down like this, the government is now spending 3 times all the time what it spent up until Trump was president. So I guess what we draw from this, kids, is that the United States, while its debt was an issue leading up to the Trump administration, the Trump administration itself triggered a situation where the American debt tripled and stayed that way for fucking ever.
Next chart, just 2 seconds on it.
Whoop. No, where's the chart that shows the modification that last chart was not reflective of reality? Didn't he just promise us that the big tall blue bars were going forever? You can't just jump fucking past it, dummy.
I just want people to see that we are not living in normal times.
Yeah, we just had a big fucking pandemic and the last president was a fucking lunatic. Yeah, we know. And?
Right? Normal times was the 1960s all the way up until a few years ago.
Well, I mean, it depends on if you took the brown acid or not. The 60s till now was just normal. AIDS, 9/11, the Wall Street crash, the dot-com bubble, all the OPEC crisis, gas lines in the 70s. That was normal.
And now we are in economic crazy land. That spike down is the new deficit, and it looks like it's popping up, but we just baked in the cake the fact that blue line is going to stay plunged down way out of all historic norms. Well,
no, actually. That's not what this shows at fucking all. It shows that there was that government spending was the solution that we came up with in a time where there were there's been no other comparable moments, because obviously in this he's not including the deficit spending of the around World War II, for example, which was larger. And then if you'll notice, here's the line. And it's definitely going below a certain line during the Trump administration, it would seem. And 2008, I guess, didn't help any, although these numbers are very small, so it's hard to. And then it jagged down, of course, during COVID, because the entire fucking world shut down, not just us. And then right now, it's kind of back up at it's on its way back up to this general zone. And it's not doing it so quickly that it would wreck the fucking economy. I don't know.
What does that get you if you're sending?
That gets you back to normal after a major horrible thing? I don't know. What do you think an EKG looks like with somebody's heartbeat before and after the heart attack and when they've been defibrillated, fuckhead?
All your money to the government to do pronoun studies and green stuff and all sorts of artificial.
For the record, those things are incredibly cheap. I don't know if you noticed this. None of that's expensive.
Disturbances to the market.
Disturbances to the market. What was the big over-under cost for all American corporations to consider the idea of pronouns sometimes? What if you're a CEO and that fucked up your bottom line? You're an idiot.
What happens? Well, what happens is you don't get any more patents on the next chart.
Yes, American ingenuity has gone in the shitter. I don't know if you've noticed. Don't pay any attention to this AI shit. There have been no patents in America. America's not patenting anything. Nobody's inventing any fucking thing. Nobody. And those that are just, well,
the U.S.
We'll see what he says.
Has leveled out.
We've leveled out. That's 2018, fuckhead. That says 2018. 1990 to 2018. Total patent grants by filing office, 1990 to 2018. And by the way, China filing these patents could be just paperwork. Doesn't mean what they're filing patents on actually fucking work. And their numbers are always triple bullshit. And we're still far and away, I guess so, Europe, Japan, and South Korea, you guys are doomed. We're kicking your ass, and we're terrible.
Not growing anymore.
We're not growing anymore. America, you're not growing. Nothing, like, I know some of you think some new tech shit has actually happened in the recent. It hasn't. AI, get out of here. It all ended back then with the first introduction of a washing machine that texts you when it's done.
China's patents are going through the roof, and as you
well, what they really need is a patent on how to patch the roof, I think, is where the trouble lies.
You just said, guess where they're getting them from? They're getting them from MIT in the United States. They're getting them from the Department of Defense. They're getting them.
All right, okay. Look, if they're stealing, that's one thing, and that's a complaint you can have, and like intellectual property theft is an issue or whatever. But if they're stealing from us, it's our innovation. You can't say we stopped innovating if all of their patents are stolen from people who are creating innovative patents. What are you fucking talking about? That is so absurd on its what? We're not, if we stop, like, this is getting into like Microsoft having to give Apple money because Apple was its R&D factory. Like, how are we going to steal how we do Windows if Apple collapses? The fuck are you talking about? We don't innovate anymore, Steve. And if we stop, what are the Chinese going to have to steal? It's sad. Then what the hell?
From our defense firms and contractors.
Right, again. Yes, they're ours. Apparently we are innovative as fuck. We've been innovating the shit out of it. It's just they're filing them before us because what we like. I mean, this is just dumb. Also, these are percentages. Total patent grants by filing 1990 to 2018. Okay.
The next chart on patents is even more problematic.
Oh dear. The next chart on patents is even worse than the one that stops in 2018. And shows that we're not innovating anymore because the Chinese are stealing our patentable patent things.
It shows elite capture at the highest levels.
Elite capture at the highest levels. Yes, the elites have captured the uninnovative deadening of the American economy. They have taken control of it, and they are seizing all the wealth and power of the powerless and the unwealthy.
1% of our firms in the U.S. are doing 50% of the patents.
Yeah, because tech patents are easier to do than physical patents. And every tech patent that comes out, especially when it's around code, all right, let me give you an example of just, can I just show you how fucking dumb? How many patents does Apple have? Apple has a total of 95,500 patents globally. These patents belong to 34,137 unique patent families. Out of 95,500 patents, 78,104 patents are active. They are using 78,000 patented devices or elements of their devices. Like, they patent every little part of it, how they grind the lens, what the fitting for the lens, all the aspects of it have a secondary patent. One device will have, on the tech level, unlike the fucking cotton gin or something, will have like 19 patents built into it, and they're all used. Of course, 1% does that because only 1% of companies create things that are that complex. And this motherfucker's like, why has nobody been able to beat the flint and the steel?
So they're not even creating all of what this means is you have monopolies, right?
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't mean that at all. It means the areas where there is the most patent growth by volume is in areas that are covered only by a few companies. Does McDonald's definitely has some patents. No doubt about it. Hold on. How many patents does McDonald's hold? McDonald's, on the other hand, has 100 patents globally, out of which 56 have been granted. They struck out on the other half. Of these 100%, 14 patents, 14% of them are active. Which would be 14. Pardon me if there's too much math. Australia is where McDonald's has filed the maximum number of patents, followed by Europe and Asia. McDonald's has 100 patents. Now, do you think McDonald's or any of the fast food, and by the way, a bunch of companies use patents that McDonald's owns for their processing of their food and how their cups are made and blah, blah, blah. Like, this is just stupid.
Where's Dick? Hi, Dick. Do we like Dick? Yes. What?
Monopolies in charge of our entire economy.
What? I'm just an idiot.
They're either producing the patents or they're buying them from the small guys. How do you know that? Well, look at that line way at the bottom. There's the small guys. The new entrants are doing less than 10% of our patents. So we have a monopoly economy.
No, you don't. And by the way, this has nothing to do with the importance of or the density of these patents, the impact that these patents have at all. The volume number has nothing to do with the worth. The fact is that high-tech companies make more patents because they have 5 per device or 5 per mechanism. Because you're not gonna, no, somebody has the patent on having a camera phone and somebody else borrows it, but there's a myriad of ways of doing that or doing it better. And everybody patents a new way to do it better or their own methodology so nobody can steal. This is stupid.
China's stealing. By the way, Brookings never mentioned China in this story. So that's why you needed populist economics. And then the last charts are the most devastating. World War II, Normandy, our productive capacity. The top chart, that is our capital stock. In Macroeconomics 101.
Center capital stock at continental national prices for China, I see.
Capital is what causes economic growth. The top chart is Chinese capital growth. It's the capital stock, the total capital they have to work with is.
Dude, can you tell this asshole is just about to walk into a fucking rake?
$99 trillion.
This guy thinks China is sitting on $99 trillion of capital right now. That is actually indicative fucking hell.
It's going straight up to the moon, as you see.
The numbers should skyrocket downward.
No, it fucking well isn't. All right, before we even move on from this, hold on. China's real estate slump, predicted to last for years, threatening to spill into the wider region. We only assume an L-shaped recovery. By the way, L-shaped recovery. Why would you need a recovery? They've got $99 trillion just sitting on fucking money. We only assume an L-shaped recovery in the property sector in the coming years. Goldman Sachs economist wrote in a weekend note. JP Morgan's Tai Hui told CNBC, I think that recovery is going to be slow, but I think there's also a huge divergence between the state-owned developers versus the private sector developers. Morgan Stanley, in his mid-year outlook report, warned that further weakness in the property sector will likely bring more headwinds for China's growth. How can you have headwinds if you're sitting on this? That's not a headwind. The only headwinds you're going to experience are the blast radius from the wind when it breaks the sound barrier. Hold on one second. China's property sector recovery loses steam after home prices face strong headwinds, investments decline. New home prices in Beijing, Shanghai, and other Tier 1 cities rose 0.1% month on month in May, slowing from April's 0.4% gain, which, by the way, the CCP will not allow a non-positive number, so that's the closest one they could have where people wouldn't just scream bullshit. 0.1%. Lived-in home prices in Tier 1 cities declined 0.4%, negative 0.4% in May, reversing from a 2% gain, a 0.2% gain posted a month earlier, because you can measure that. Let's go to, let's see, Chinese eating graveyard. This is probably one of my favorite stories lately. Hold on one second. I got to shrink this down. Electric car graveyard. Thousands of EVs left deserted by Chinese car sharing and rental firm. See those? Those are cars reported. You know how you've been hearing that the Chinese EV market is outpacing all the other electric vehicle markets on the planet? Right? By far. Yeah. That's because they make them, register them as if they have been sold, and then abandon them. Yeah, you're right, CSL. There's no historical context, by the way, to it being nowhere. Like, yes, again, we get to that whole, like, dude who was 6 feet tall, who was in a 6-foot hole, climbs out and goes, I'm 12 feet tall now. The math is extraordinary. See that? Yeah. No one is ever going to drive those cars. The tires are going flat. The batteries are fading. They are rusting away in a field. They just sit there. That's it. These aren't rolling out of the factory. This isn't outside the factory where they're ready to be deployed. They're just fucking left to rot. Don't believe me? You want to see another picture where it's even worse? Give me 1 second. Images. What? There we go. Hold on 1 second. Trying to code. This is 2021. This is the South. Oops, get out of here. China's car cemetery for thousands of vehicles damaged in the Hunan floods. These are ones that are. But remember that whole thing about the. I'll show this in a second. Remember that whole thing about there was that flood under the bridge, but nobody was hurt. Remember that? Half these were underground or under that bridge. Sit abandoned in this car park in the provincial capital of Zhengzhou. Good stuff. Let's take another look. This is let me go back to here. This is the. Should we do the bicycles? Yeah, this is pretty fucking amazing. How about not? Let's not do car sharing. That's because that's where those were. A bunch of those were bought from that. Hold on, let's do this. Okay. Load up. There we go. So the idea was they set up these loan systems where a company's going to go like, all these new electric vehicles. Hold on. All these new electric vehicles are going to be great because people aren't going to own them because it's China. And get the fuck back here. Hold on. I need to show you this picture. Related content. There you go. This is this. Yeah, the Daily Mail will show it. People will get these cars and they won't have to own them because it's communist China. You won't own a car. You'll just, use an app and you'll get one like those, the bike sharing situation. Okay. So this is going to be crazy. So they decided to do that with cars. Okay. Because it went so well with bicycles. These are these electric sharing bikes that you get. You can rent a bike, and then you park it. These are those bikes. They made genuinely millions of them for this Mobike company, Ofo and Xiaoming Dangshi and Xiaoming bike, and different colors and all that kind of stuff, and baskets for people to use. And you're absolutely right to think, what a fucking waste. Like, I honestly, I have half a mind to just roll up with a truck and go, all right, just let's start moving these things. I'm going to hand them out. I'm gonna like all over the world. Just send these bikes to fucking like Africa and the Sudan and especially, and then South America and places where anybody would just kill to have a decent bike. Just round them the fuck up and send them out. Yeah. And this is what this asshole thinks economic growth looks like. Well, of course it looks like that. If you hand out money to a company to make bikes to buy from the government-backed companies, and they can pretend that that was an actual sale, and then whatever they make, you just put it in a fucking field. So stupid. Hold on one second.
Yeah, it's a rocket ship. Underneath that is the United States capital stock.
All right. Now, here's the United States capital stock. Including our circumstance with our debt, anyways, that's pretty normal. That didn't look too extreme. It definitely looks better than kind of an averaging. Right? That looks pretty that looks more realistic anyways. Good Lord.
Our capital stock is less than China.
Yeah, but we supposedly have 4 times as few people, stupid, and theirs is bullshit.
Their economy's way smaller still. Their capital stock is way bigger. Why?
Well, first of all, are you using yuan or dollars?
Because they're investing. They don't waste their money.
Okay, hold on. Because they're investing? Fuck, this guy's dumb. Can you imagine what this asshole would be saying if that was the US number? Let's see. Yeah, let's see. So 85. Governments around the world owe 85.7 trillion according to the latest data. The IF. As it go, debt to GDP. Hold on. Where are we? Now, a couple things. Okay, here's debt to GDP. We just saw the Chinese number is China's debt to GDP ratio is not factored on this. Bloomberg's using a number of their own equating. This India Times is not, they're not trusting China's number. But China's debt to GDP ratio is 279%. That's higher than Japan's. Japan is number 1 on this chart. The U.S. is number 5 at 116%. This is 2013 to 2023. And by the way, look at America's debt to GDP right here. Doink. See a little spike? That's COVID. A boink. And now it's down to here. So, there's our spike. Boink. Here you go. Where am I? Doink. Here you go. That's the spike of COVID. And there, I was pointing a little high. Right there. Moving back down. All right, now, so that's, by the way, percentage debt to GDP. The other factor is, let's go back to here. Japan's at 239%. Everybody's like, fuck, Japan's in deep trouble. China is at 279%. Debt to GDP. Where the fuck does this guy think he's getting his numbers from?
So our capital stock has grown at 15% over the last 10 years. The Chinese capital stock has grown at 150%.
Yeah, that's logical. I believe that. Why wouldn't you believe that? Hold on. Hold on one second. Yeah, Lay's real talk went into this. Let's see, national interest. CEIC. China's GDP accurate? Blah, blah, is it accurate? Well, here I'll let me show you real quick. Now, so this is Lay. Lay has a show called Lay's Real Talk. And she went through, because she was being questioned by some of the people in her chat. She does a lot of economic stuff. She was being questioned by a bunch of her viewers on, like, what's their real GDP? And so the publicized versus, what they're really seeing, their assumed growth and contraction and all their numbers. And she went through and broke down, like, how they regionally inflate numbers, their highway traffic and their freight traffic, their passenger road traffic, and compared that to how much they say they've grown. So if you say, like, we've sold 5 times as many cars as we sold in the years before, but your road traffic goes down, something's hinky, right? So anyways, they go through this whole thing, and she goes through this. Martinez is this guy who did this, judged the real GDPs of countries based on the satellite imagery of lights at night. The idea being that people who are burning the midnight oil, or factories, or anything that's going on, they have more lights on. And you can tell a country's growth by how many areas, start getting electricity and leaving it on and all that kind of shit. And so in 1992, China's GDP was 493 billion. In 2022, China's GDP was 17 billion. That's what they said, with an annual growth rate of 12%. But they've been inflating, according to the Martinez method. They inflated their numbers yearly by 35%. And the adjusted annual GDP growth rate would be 8.2% from then. So the annual growth rate, which they said was 12%, is actually closer to 8%, even with the extraordinary growth that they've seen, because they're building a lot of empty buildings. It's not the same fucking thing. Digging a hole and paying someone to fill it in, that kind of stuff isn't real GDP growth. And instead of being at $17 billion, their adjusted 2022 GDP is $5.3 trillion. That is less than Japan. And their debt is somewhere in the order of $11 trillion. I mean, it's not like at this point, it's really fucking obvious. Hold on, let me scrap this down. So yeah, allegedly they have a $17 trillion economy, and I would like to remind everybody that the U.S. has a $26 trillion economy, 22 at our worst, and our debt to income ratio, our debt to GDP, is about 116%. Theirs is 275%. And they're lying about the GDP number. They're lying about the base number, the comparison. So it may be closer to, at that point, what are we saying? If we go by $5.6 trillion, hold on one second. I got a month. So they're 393%, if my math is correct. 393% GDP to debt ratio. Fucking hell. Slayer Chick, feel free to doze off. I'll try and speak a little softer. Don't worry about it. Okay. Yeah, their debt to GDP ratio is closer to 400%. Fucking hell.
Over the past 10 years, they're dwarfing us.
You're an idiot. Not even fucking close. Dude's never even fucking been there. It's one thing to believe the numbers they give you, sight unseen. It's another thing entirely to even talk like this if you've never fucking been to China. I've been to China a lot. I like the Chinese people. I love Chinese culture. And I was horrified by the state of the country.
So it used to be, getting back to the debt, you could say we're going to grow our way out of this. This chart shows you that is not the case.
No, it doesn't.
We are not investing in our country.
Yes, we are. But look, if you work really hard and you buy a TV set and you fix up your lawn and you add a bathroom to your house and someone comes in and steals your TV set and your turf and your sink fixtures, did you not invest in your country? Were you just not, it was just the gumption on your part, or were you stolen from? Should the complaint be that those things are missing? Not because should somebody be able to call you lazy? Look at your yard. What kind of an asshole lives like this? Like, my shit was stolen. Well, did you really put the work in?
The capital investment is about $1 trillion a year out of a $25 trillion economy. That is not good enough. We need a.
No, it isn't. U.S. capital investment is not $1 trillion a year. Good Lord. This fucker teaches at the Liberty University School of Business. What do? Pray to balance their books?
Structure, bringing the jobs back. We need to get real stiff with China and.
Well, trust me.
Drop your shorts and bend over, Mr. Babar.
Not a problem.
Moon River. Decouple immediately.
Decouple immediately. Well, I mean, you'd have to talk to Ivanka because she's going to be mad. She's going to lose her patents.
For the sake of Taiwan and geopolitics, much less just saving the United States economy.
And decouple their access to the capital markets. It's one of the reasons the capital stock is up. A lot of this is underwritten by the United States. This gets back to your.
By the way, a lot of this is underwritten by the United States. Why would that be? Because rich private assholes decide to invest in China because they don't give a shit about Uyghur slave labor? Or anti-democracy, violent government action against people in Hong Kong?
Your central thesis, that productivity.
He has a thesis?
Really productivity increase in the United States have not done anything since the 70s.
Fuck you.
And that is that we have financialized the economy. So the GDP looks higher. All this looks higher. But you financialize the economy without actually growing underlying productivity, manufacturing, the making of things. And this gets down to the bottom. This is how we become a tributary state as a service economy to serve.
Oh, good Lord. These motherfuckers have no idea what's made in the United States or how much. Look, okay, hold on one second. Can I show you something? This might shock people. Almost as much as the Jimmy Dores of the world were shocked to find out that the rail workers that Biden actually worked to try and balance their needs against that of the railway company. Most of them average $116,000 a year in salary and have more variability in their schedule than any office worker does. But we'll get there in a minute. Hold on one second. Let's see. I'll do that one. Let's see. Hold on one second. I'm going to bring a couple of things up. And then I need a statistical page. There we go. All right. Let's go to here. Clump this out. This is just a generalized one right here. Ashtead profits jump 30% as U.S. manufacturing moves onshore. This is June 13th, 2023. This is pretty fucking new. Ashtead profits jump 30% as U.S. manufacturing moves onshore. UK equipment rental group sees momentum from big construction projects and Biden legislation. Ashtead, the equipment rental group, says a surge in U.S. construction activity amid the move by businesses to onshore manufacturing boosted profits by almost a third. The UK-listed company said pre-tax profits for the year to April rose 30% to $2.2 billion on a 24% rise in revenue at constant currency at $9.7 billion. The U.S., where it trades under the name Sunbelt Rentals, accounts for about 90% of Ashtead's revenue. Rental revenue in the United States rose 23%. Underpinned by Biden's Inflation Reduction Act intended to stimulate clean technology investment, as well as legislation that aims to increase spending on infrastructure and the domestic supply of semiconductors, U.S. manufacturers were investing in modernizing domestic facilities, said Chief Executive Brendan Horgan. Okay, there we go. Opinion. Making manufacturing great again. This is good, our old friend Paul Krugman. Back when Donald Trump began his political rise, it was common for mainstream pundits to attribute his support to economic anxiety. It's true that Trump himself was obsessed with trade deficits, blah, blah, blah. Here's another chart that dude will like. Hold on one second. Let me screw that down. Draw plus. Okay. Total construction spending in the United States. Total construction spending, manufacturing in the United States. This is total spending on manufacturing in the United States. This is here we are at 24. This is basically. Here's the Recovery Act. There's when we crashed. And then after that, here's Obama. Just tack, building this thing up, edged out here. And then we get into 2016. This is around people don't know what's going to happen. Trump gets in office, does a tax cut. Nothing happens. Didn't help anything. There's a Trump trade war. That's when it started. A little bit of a hump around 2020. And then because people were and then it collapsed, of course. And then we get into here because it's steadied out or whatever. And then we go to the Inflation Reduction Act and the CHIPS Act, and look at that. Now, why wouldn't that guy show that chart? This is total construction spending, manufacturing in the United States. This isn't just government spending. This is in general. Inflation Reduction Act and the CHIPS Act right here. Voop. Pow. Al needs a producer that can give him the proper thing to do on that cue. Which one? We spend more money than the Chinese make over many, many years annually. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the infrastructure bill and the CHIPS Act he didn't even put that in there because a lot of that stuff, by the way, is introduced right about here. This is where the infrastructure bill spending starts because they passed it, but there was a delay on when those projects start. So. Again, and here we go. Manufacturing index. Industry statistics. Manufacturing in brief. Here we go. Let me do this real quick. Blow you guys up. There you go. All you America, you faux America first maggots are going to be very upset. Some brief figures on the U.S. manufacturing, including the following. 2021, manufacturing contributed $2.3 trillion of U.S. GDP, amounting to 12% of total U.S. GDP, including direct and indirect, quote, purchases from other industries. Value-added manufacturing contributed an estimated 24% of GDP. In 2020, the manufacturing imported 18%, resulting in a 10% of the output being of foreign origin. According to the current population survey, there were 14.7 million employees in U.S. manufacturing in 2021, representing 9.6% of the total U.S. employment. 9% of American workers are in manufacturing. Manufacturing accounted for 76% of U.S. environmental impact, according to NISD's Manufacturing Cost Guide. Average compensation in U.S. manufacturing is 8% higher than that for the total private industry. U.S. as a brand. U.S. ranks 10th among 49 countries in Statistica's Made in Country Index, ranks 8th in the Ipsos Brands Poll. Now, machinery, computers and electronics, electronic equipment, appliances, transportation equipment, and manufacturing. The computers and electronics, this chart starts in 2005. Starts in 2005. And then there's this little jag right here, 2001. Look at that, 2020, around the blue. This is machinery. Drops flat, and then at 2021, pow. Here's that's total manufacturing. These are these lines combined. The gray line is electrical equipment and appliances. Pow. 2021. Look right here. Look at that line right there. Here's the electrical equipment and appliances. 2021 flattened out into 2021, gone up. And then there's this little bobble in this is computers and electronics, and then it's on the rise. This is manufactured in the United States in whole or in part. Manufacturing growth, 100th percentile. Ireland, there's this kind of state. The United States is right about here. We're in the 50th percentile. Just so you know. Ireland's way up here as far as what you make versus what you use. And then the what you make and all that kind of stuff. There's the U.S. is the blue in here. This is the percent billions of dollars in U.S. ranks first and seventh manufacturing industries in total. We make chemicals and pharmaceuticals. That's a huge part of what we do. We make computer equipment, electronic equipment. And then you'll notice that the row here, whatever, and Germany is kind of in a mix here. I don't know why they're using yellow for both or whatever. And China's in the orange, which should be, you would think that if you listen to the talk, especially in all these areas, you'd think that China would be the biggest number in all of this. And it isn't. It's not even the biggest number. Look, we're almost even in pharmaceuticals and chemicals, and we're even in production of electronics with China. And again, they are a country that is, physically 4 times our size and allegedly population-wise same way.
The economic powerhouse that the Chinese Communist Party is building on your nickel. This is what we got to undertake.
He doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. Yammering. This is bullshit. This is scaring the dunces.
Dave, what's your social media? Because I'm going to get Derek in here next.
Get the fuck out of here. I don't need to be around when he does his social media stuff. And by the way, I hope this doesn't get too boring for you guys when I chase this shit down, because it just drives me fucking crazy. It's so far from any kind of reality. Let's see. Productivity. And by the way, here's another. This is a fun one. This is productivity. The 5-year annual growth compound in labor productivity is down 6%. This is just to 2020. Here's this is the blue is private non-farm. Right around the Trump tax cut, you'll notice that shortly thereafter, as it starts factoring into the economy, that went down, that went down, that went down, that went down. That's why we were headed into a recession in February of 2020. And at the beginning of 2020, they couldn't fight it off. And that's why Trump was screaming all of 2019 for negative interest rates, because he wanted people to be able to borrow money because there wasn't any money in the economy, because he'd basically just given it all back, and a lot of people just spent it elsewhere or sat on it or invested it and were making day trade money off of it. It didn't amount to like them building new buildings and building adding manufacturing jobs and shit like that. It didn't work that way. They just bought back their own stocks and sat on shit and figured they'd ride it out and gain look at it as like a way to park money for the next decade. And because of it, all of it went down. There's your productivity under Trump, because of the output was just shit. Now, we are still 9th in output per hour among 133 countries. Even with all this, we are we're in the top 10 in terms of productivity, and that includes other countries that have twice our population, like India and China. Okay, the U.S. ranking, we're 4th in 2020 patent applications, 5th in 2020 research and development expenditures as a percentage of GDP, 17th in 2019 researchers per million people, 22nd in 2018 journal article publication per capita. Competitiveness Index, the IMD World Competitiveness Index, which measures competitiveness for conducting business, ranked the U.S. 10th. We're not number 1 in competitiveness, but that's because, lifestyle is a huge part of this. We actually live our lives. That's always going to be the case. Once you level, it's kind of like in countries where people have a lot of children because they need somebody to take care of them, and then once they get a retirement plan or they have some sort of future, they have fewer children and that kind of stuff. It's a similar affect. They're less productive in creating children for workers. And oh, thank you, JD Christie, for the Chud Fund. By the way, you're watching House Parks Mega Worldwide. I know I went long. I'm almost done. Types of goods produced in billions. We got a miscellaneous manufacturing. Big part of this green is computer products. Look at that. That's U.S. That's manufactured computer products. That's us. If you asked any Republican how many, electronic or computer-related devices are made in the United States, they'd say, what? None? Billions of chained 2012 dollars over the course of from 2006 to 2021. In stuff as far as what's paid to be made in the manufactured in the country. Just saying. Thanks. Okay, good. I'm sometimes I feel like I get too nerdy with this. Oh, you're in the ER? Oh no, Pukache. I hope you're okay. I mean, or whoever you're with turns out to be okay. So, two idiots selling something. That's all I'm going to say. And that's it for tonight because I got to go and I went late and I've got radio tomorrow. And tomorrow, Boston Bryant is going to be on with us for the second half of the first hour. And then Philip Bittner's going to join us in the second hour. So it's very guest heavy. Me and Johnny Million and I are only going to have like the first two segments to yammer about whatever or listen to, my stomach growl or him, doing fart noises. It's going to be crazy at the top just so we can fit it all in. Kids, for tonight, let's just reiterate part of what we learned tonight. A big part of which is, if I may, and I think that I can, that China's real GDP may actually be closer to $5.3 trillion instead of $17 trillion, which everybody clamors about, including people you're whinging about this all the fucking time. 5.3, and that's with 3 times the number of people in their country. So that money is spread pretty fucking thin. And and that means their debt though is real or it may be bigger than they say because, nobody lies to make their debt bigger. They lie to make their GDP bigger. So at the minimum, it's about 400% GDP to debt to GDP ratio. The United States is at 116%. During World War II, we were, I think, 121%. And we just came out of COVID. It's not surprising at all. Like, all this is really, I don't want to bore you, but this is fucking normal as hell. And the important, this is a situation where you thought you were having a heart attack. It turned out to be a panic attack, but your doctor is saying you need to get more sun and do some walking. And this is the next morning, and you got to get on your fucking feet and start walking around and take better care of your body and your psyche so it doesn't happen again. It is not you walking around with a bunch of tubes in your chest, in a fucking gown with the butt open in a hallway for the next 10 months. That's not what it is. So there you go. I'm just saying. Tomorrow, we're obviously on the radio show, we're obviously going to cover a myriad of things, not the least of which, of course, is Trump's E. Jean Carroll date has been set. His, he got his boost of money for, the indictment itself, and then it faded right off again. He spent it already. It's all going, it's already spoken for. Understand this. Every single dollar that Trump gets fighting these cases is money that is not going, I repeat, not going to other Republican candidates. Trump takes those buckets of money from his followers, those greasy, nasty dollars, and he just guzzles them like this, and he shits them out. And they just obliterated chips of fucking nothing. Just, that's it. And nobody can spend it ever again. Nobody can ever use it for a campaign ad or any of that stuff. So I say, maggots, I don't know why you're even here. You should be at donaldjtrump.com donating everything. Don't forget to click or forget to unclick the button that makes you a return investor in Trump Town. I don't know what the fuck they're calling it these days. Can we see Chud, please? Sure. Yes. Hold on one second. Let me take these out. I'm going to go get Chud. I will talk amongst yourselves. I may have to move slowly because she's old. Although there's a chance she might be down here. That happens too. So hold on. Let me check. Chip down here? Oh, there he is. Oh, hi. He's like, were you pooping and you heard? Okay. First of all, this guy was right outside my door. He came out and I said, Chip, and he just bolted. He just bolted out there. Hi, buddy. How are you? Hi, your buddy. Hi, your buddy. What the type of doing? He was like, a snack, a show's over, a snack. Come on. Whoop, come on. Let's go. Move out of the way, Chip. Look out, buddy. Look out. Look out. Where are you? Look out. Here she is. There's her shaved belly. There's her shaved belly. She's got her Uggs on. She's very fancy. You okay? She's like, I was sleeping. I was like, I'm sorry. Your fans want to see you. So here she is. She's a little wheezy. You can hear her. Hold on. Mm-hmm. Chet has she's got she had her wrists shaved again, so they could put in a like an IV, you know, and draw some blood and some other stuff at different points. And so, yeah, she's doing okay. She does not appreciate that I snatched her up and ran her downstairs, though. So I'm gonna put her back in a second. So. Oh, and my Uncle Dave is out of surgery, so that's good. That all happened just now. Hi. So, yeah, that's Chud and Chip. Chip, boys. Come here, buddy. Come here, Chip, boys. Come here. Come here. What's going on? Come here. Are you a maniac right now? What's your buddy doing? What's your buddy doing? He was like... And then he just laid down. So, yeah, poor Chud. Hope that heart thing doesn't cost money because I just clicked $100 worth. If it does, I don't think so. You're okay. Zoomy's coming in. Yes, lovely. Thank you, guys. Yeah, I think he's gonna going forward. I think he's gonna be talking with one of these things on it. He's gonna be like an electronic cyborg Wolfman Jack man. So I'm not kidding, but we'll see. Murph is upstairs being a dick. I swear to God, I'm gonna post a picture with like the Batman theme because Murphy is such a good-looking cat, and every time you see him sitting someplace, he just looks like Batman waiting to fight crime, and then he blows it by just being an absolute jerk. I love that cat though, and it's so funny because he's such a hard ass. And then I start scratching him, and he rolls over on his back, and he puts his chin up like this, and then his arms go back, and he just wants me to pet this entire area. It's so why is he being a dick? I don't know. I don't speak cat. I don't speak Russian blue or whatever the hell. My Wolfman Jack is Robin Williams status. Thank you so much, Josh. I appreciate it, man. It's a good time. Come on now. Now I've got to work on all my impersonations so that I can do them all in like one area. Yeah. Murph is a Russian spy. I know. And he knows I'm onto him, so he doesn't like me. Anyways, I gotta go. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care of yourself, and don't forget...